Hi, everyone. It's Denise Brown, and this is Caregiver Support Live. And I'm here with my co-host, Jennifer Richey. Hi, Jennifer.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Jennifer and I take questions about caregiving challenges and offer insights. Today we have two questions. These are questions that I found on the internet. So we're going to offer our perspectives on. Actually, one question is from someone who does know about our work. So I changed the details a little bit to protect privacy. And the second question is actually from the internet. Okay, Jennifer, are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, so here we go. Here's the first question. My sister, who is 70, has recently gotten a terminal diagnosis and is deteriorating quickly. Her partner is taking care of her, and there is a hospice nurse who comes to their house as well. When the pain is too much, morphine is administered. My sister was given 6 months, but I think that was if she went in for cancer treatments, which she doesn't want to do. My question is that our mom, who is 94, is doing fairly well. She does have trouble walking and has some memory issues, but we aren't sure if she should come with us for a visit to see my sister. I would imagine my sister doesn't look like herself, and I need to know if it's recommended to bring my mom to see her. I don't want my mom or my sister to get upset. I realize that this may be the last time my mom would have a chance to visit with my sister. We have plans to go to visit in a week, but I'm having reservations. Do you have an opinion? Have others been in a similar boat? So, what do you think, Jennifer?
Well, others have definitely been in a similar boat, I'm sure. Um, as always, I have questions. My first questions were like, have they asked mom?
Right.
Is
Yes.
she wanting to go? Is she willing? Is she able to travel? How far away is this? Um, I always want the more details. Um, But my first thought when I saw this was, what does mom think? Now we don't want to make her upset, but we also want to give her the opportunity to say goodbye to her daughter if that is, the ultimate goal here. So, um, I think as a culture, we sort of avoid death and talking about it, and we don't want to upset people, but I think it's really important for people to have closure around these things. So that was my initial thought. How about you?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that the term was upsetting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we just have to start with the baseline of this is an upsetting situation.
Yeah.
Regardless, her mom is going to be upset about the death of a child. This is upsetting. This is upsetting. And I think we have this idea that we must protect our carries from things that are upsetting. There is
Mm.
no way to protect your carry from something that is already upsetting.
Yeah.
And my other thought, which aligns with yours, is it's important to have a conversation. Yes, we're going to get to that, Samantha. Samantha is talking in the chat room about a future regret. We're going to get there. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. It's a future regret. So I think what we're looking toward is how do we ensure that this situation is as comforting for all as possible? And it starts with a conversation. Mom, we're going to go see, let's just call her Sue next week. We'd love for you to go with. We're concerned that Sue is declining quickly. This could be the last time we see her. Let's just say it openly and honestly. What can we do to help you? Because this is going to be a hard visit. Ask your mom what she needs. And it could be that she just needs a little more time after they arrive in at her sister's house, for instance, to like decompress and feel ready. And I think believing that we must stop a visit because the visit might be too upsetting is a future regret. Thank you, Samantha. And what we want to do is do what we can so that the visit happens and everyone feels supported. When we're upset, we want support. We don't want someone to tell us, let's just hide from this, let's close the door on this, because it's upsetting already. We can't close the door on this. We can't pretend it's not happening. We can't shield someone from the upset. And I often think that we're not sure what to do when we go to visit someone who's dying. And you know what we do? We sit and hold hands and
Mhm.
share memories. We talk out about what's important to us, what we love about each other, what we remember.
Sometimes it's just our presence,
Yes.
that's necessary.
And I think if I consider myself, for instance, to be the one who's the sister who's dying, you know who I want to see? My mom.
Yeah,
I want to see my mom. I want to see my
yeah.
mom. I want to see my mom. You know, there's this idea that we are wordless when someone is dying, and it can be helpful for us to have words. And I just remembered these words because I've been watching this show called The Pit on Max.
Oh, that's on my list.
Oh, oh my heavens. Anyway, lots of really helpful conversations around death. So at one point, the ER physician empowers parents whose child, no, he empowers two adult children whose father is dying with the four phrases that are really powerful. And I think it comes from a particular culture. And there's been a doctor who actually wrote a whole book about these are the four things that really matter. So when someone is dying, you can tell them, I love you. Thank you. Please forgive me. I forgive you.
Mm.
There you go.
Uh,
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
the book you're referring to When Breath Becomes Air?
Oh, I don't know because I didn't look up the book. I was just paying attention to the show, but we should look up the book to figure out where
Yeah,
that
that book is great too. It's a doctor who died, but as he was dying, he wrote this book. And as I think he's a neurologist, and to have, that perspective as a physician, but also as a patient.
yes.
Excellent book.
Yeah. So again, when we're with someone who is dying, when we're with someone who is experiencing a lot of suffering and pain, hold their hand and say, I love you. Thank you. Please forgive me. I forgive you. And I also think it's very important for us to just remember when there's an upsetting situation, it's one of our roles can be creating support. It's not our role to keep someone away, I don't believe, because we don't want, oh my heavens, we just don't want to rob someone of that experience, which is closure, which is what you talked about, Jennifer. We just
Yeah.
want everybody to have closure. And it's okay that we're upset. Of course, we're going to be upset. So it's about not having someone bite back or swallow back their emotions. It's the idea that we can be emotional because it's an emotional experience and have support around us.
I think it would be different if mom was saying, I don't want to travel, I don't want to go, or, was in full like memory loss, dementia. I mean, that would require, I think, another conversation, but still not an automatic yes or no. But
And in a case like that, we could think about what does a virtual visit look like?
right. I mean, there's so many options these days.
Yes, yes. When my mom was dying, she was very pragmatic about her death. She resisted it until she didn't. And when she was dying, I set up visits, and some of them were virtual visits. And for my mom, because she's so pragmatic or was so pragmatic, her last conversations were people were just, hey, what's going on in your life? she didn't say anything about, well, this is going to be the last time we talk. I just, I wanted to let you know how much I loved you and meant, how much you meant to me. That was not my mom's way. It was just important for her to have one last, hey, I'm just calling to check in. My mom was very much someone who sat in her recliner at the end of the day, pulled out her phone book, and went down the list to check in with people. And that was the last thing she wanted to do, was just a last check in. So we did a virtual visit with one of the grandchildren, my nephew, who lived out of state at the time. And the whole conversation was him showing us his new apartment. He took us on a tour. My mom loved it. That was what was most important. What's new with you? What's up with you? Virtual visits can be just as important if it's impossible to travel. It's just this idea that we connect. Again, we have another opportunity to say what we feel and think and to have that conversation. So Samantha, who's joining us live, has a thought in the chat room, and she is wondering if perhaps the 94-year-old woman, the mom, might be more prepared and better adjusted than the family caregiver. And how about that? Because she, as the mom, has already lost her spouse, plus her own parents, plus her own siblings. So she has been through immense loss already in her life. And I guess
Right.
perhaps, yeah, I guess perhaps maybe that's why the daughter is so protective of her.
Yeah.
How is my mom going to endure one more loss?
Yeah.
And in essence, it's really helping her cope with one more loss with support and love. So I think,
Nice way to end it.
yeah, so I think what we settled on is go.
Yeah.
This question also reminded me of a conversation I had with a family caregiver a few years ago during the pandemic. The family caregiver was participating in one of our training programs, and her mom lived in a facility, and they had just lifted restrictions on visitors in the facility. She wasn't sure how close or how long her mom had left. She wasn't in hospice yet, but she could see where things were going. And so she said to me, should my siblings go visit her or wait? I said, no, they should go visit her. If the window has opened, turn it into a door and go. Don't wait. Everybody believes that there is the possibility of waiting or that waiting is a good choice. I always say, don't wait, go. Just go. Just
Yeah.
go. Just go. Just go.
I think if COVID taught us anything, it was, you know, we always think we have more time than we do. So
Right. Yes. Don't wait. Don't wait. Go. Okay. Here's our second question.
this is a juicy one.
Oh, did you think it was? Okay. This is the one from the internet. So there's a lot of juicy stuff on the internet. Okay. So here's the second question. My mom had a very happy second marriage. Unfortunately, a few years after her husband died, my mother developed dementia. I moved her near me and was able to get her into memory care thanks to the money in a trust left to my mother. I'm so grateful that my stepfather thought of my mom in his estate planning, but my step siblings are upset at the cost of my mother's care. I resent them for adding additional stress to heartbreak, and I know they feel that the expenses are draining money that should go to them. How can I work with them?
Hmm. This is an interesting one. Um, I think in the original question there was details about the attorney had helped her draw up some documents and so I was thinking about the attorney and um, but yeah, this is a tough one because is it really pulling money that would be going to them? Are they just assuming that? Um, you know, truly the money is for her care, and that was what her husband had identified it going to. And it could all go to that, you know. I mean, sometimes it costs that much, so there might be nothing left. And it irks me when we have these situations where people assume that money is coming to them. So, how can I work
Yes.
with them? That is the question. I don't know if work with them is the right way to put it. Quite honestly,
Yes,
I think it's like, you set a boundary and you have the attorney set the boundary, if you can't do it.
I think it's always helpful if you have a professional like an attorney who's,
Yeah.
or a financial planner, that's who they can call and ask questions about
Hmm.
if they're worried about the money. I think it's, I think sticker shock happens all the time in these situations where people do not realize the cost of care, and the cost of a memory care facility can be ten to $12,000 a month. And when others who are not well aware see these costs, they think we are paying too much, and they have chosen the most expensive facility. It was the wrong choice. When that is not the case, that is the cost of care. Okay, so the question, how do I work with them? I guess it's really, what do you want to work with them about? Meaning, is it that the elder law attorney and or financial planner provide monthly updates on the financial situation, quarterly updates? It really could be the boundary. How much do they receive in terms of updates? And the boundary could also be, if you'd like to know how my mom is doing, please reach out. I'd be happy to share an update about how she's doing, given that she has a disease that's going to cause difficulties for her. I'd be happy to provide updates on my mom's well-being. Everything else, please go to the financial planner and the elder law attorney. And by the way, when you call the elder law attorney, he's going to bill you, not not the estate, but you. You're going to be the client who is paying for these calls. So please keep that in mind.
The other thing, and I'm thinking more practically as someone who has dealt with an estate and, an attorney and all of that, they have the right to request, if they're named in the will and the trust, if it's a trust. Yeah, it is a trust. They have the right to request a copy of it. And so they could see exactly what, so it's not a word of mouth kind of like, how are they really using it for care? Is that what my dad wanted, Um, so they can request it, but they can't touch it, until the estate has uh, worked through all of the things. So, that would be a real easy solution is request a copy, send it to them, and there's nothing else to be said, you know?
Yes. Which is very similar to what Tiffany has posted in the chat room, which is if it's in the will,
Yeah.
it's their wishes and we have to respect them. That is legally what the daughter has to do. The money is her mom's, it's her mom's money. And spending it on her mom's care is how that money needs to be spent. We'll also add that when someone shows you who they are the first time, believe them. So
Mhm.
the siblings are showing the daughter who they are. And that's okay. That's who they are. And it's just making future decisions based on who they are. They are people who are valuing money. They are valuing money. And the daughter's value is not money. So thinking through what's the relationship? The relationship is always going to be based on money. How much of a relationship do you want then with individuals who value money most? Probably not much of one. And she could think of different types of responses she uses if they give her a hard time. Like if they send a text, I just got an update on how much money has been gone to your mom's care and it's astronomical. We think that
Mhm.
this is irresponsible of you in terms of how much you are spending. Again, the response is please reach out to the financial planner and the elder law attorney. They can answer
Yeah.
questions. And you can get into the tit for tat, right? Oh, here's the cost of care and other facilities in the community to show that it's all pretty much the same. And it's not going to change their mind.
Yeah.
They're always going to think it's too much money.
I also like to always, when I'm in my higher brain and feeling like rational, I like to think, how can we be compassionate for these people?
Right. Yes.
And very possibly the father said, you'll have all this money coming to you. And they were told that. And so they expected it, and it's not that they're being selfish, it's just that they were what they were told. We don't know what those conversations were. And so kind of having in the back of our head, like, these are just daughters thinking, this is what dad told me. And so we don't know. We don't know all of it. But um, whenever we can be compassionate, I think it's good for
Yes.
us. It's
Yes.
always possible, though.
Yes. And a
Mhm.
compassionate response, for instance, when the step siblings reach out and are aggravating, a compassionate response could be, thanks so much for checking in with my
Yeah.
mom. We are so grateful she's receiving such great care.
Hmm.
If you'd like any other insights about her finances, again, reach out to the elder law attorney or financial planner. They can answer your questions. So it's having a response ready so then you can move through the rest of your day. And I have found it helpful in my world. If I have a response that starts with thank you, she's doing well, or we noticed a decline, or she's struggling with this, or this is what has happened. Just a real simple update. Thank you for checking in. This is what's happening with my mom. Because really, they're also going to wonder. This is a terrible thing to say out loud, but they're also wondering, well, how much longer is this going to last?
Yes.
Like, when is she going to die? So they might be checking in for insights around how close are we to her death. That is terrible, but
But true.
true. And you can, again, think of a response. Thanks for checking in. Status quo.
Hmm.
If anything changes, I'll reach out. For other questions around money, please reach out to her attorney and financial planner. Then you can move through the rest of your day. You're not stuck on tit for tat. Why don't they? They
Yeah.
should. It's it's never going to change because you can't change them. You can't convince them. You can't change them. They just who they are who they are. And it's most important that we can move through the rest of our day by just managing without drama. Just want to let you know that's hard to do. And so when they
Mhm.
get to you a little bit more, it's important to vent to someone who is a good listener and can receive your vent.
I think this is also a really good example of, even in the best of circumstances, money changes people. It creates tension where there doesn't need to be. And I've seen really good relationships devolve because of money. And so to avoid that, even if you think, oh, there will never be a problem, everything in writing, everything, wishes are all out there in advance so that there's never any question about the intent of money. I think that's
And I
important.
would say that it's also about who owns what.
Hmm.
And that can align with possessions as well.
Yeah.
So who
Yeah.
owns the money? Who owns the possessions? So after my
Hmm.
parents died and we were cleaning out my dad's apartment, we were distributing the possessions. My mom had met with myself and my niece probably 3 or 4 years beforehand because I thought it would be a good idea for my mom to tell us who should get what. So my niece took notes and then saved them. We went by the notes, who gets what. My mom had 5 Yadros, those statues. Each daughter and granddaughter was to get a Yadro. However, 2 of the granddaughters were MIA, including a granddaughter who worked at the library across the street from where my parents lived. My mom was devastated by these grandchildren who believed their mother, my older sister, and then did not continue a relationship with my mom. She was devastated by this. So when we were going through the possessions and it was time for the Yadros, and I was just sitting, my younger sister wasn't there. My niece took 2 of the Yadros to give to her sisters. And I thought, my mom is not going to like that. But I didn't say anything. And I thought, my younger sister is really not going to like that. But I didn't say anything because I thought, I just am not sure what to say. So I let it go. My sister came the next day and said, "Where are those 2 Yadros?" And I said,
Mm.
"Well, so and so took them for her sisters." My sister was furious. "Mom wouldn't want that. Those 2 girls never came, blah, blah, blah." And I said, "I understand how you feel. I wasn't sure what to do. It's a very distressing situation. If you want, you could reach out to our niece and let her know how upset you are. I think, though, if you're going to do this, you should wait till tomorrow." So I gave her the option. She could reach out. I said, I just would wait until tomorrow. Okay, all right. And then she never did. And
Mm.
she said to me, like a year later, "I'm so glad I just let that Yadro thing go." And I said, "I know, it's upsetting. It was terrible. It's painful. It's hurtful. And there's just some things that are not worth it." And I said, "You know what? Those 2 girls have those Yadros staring at them now, reminding them that they
Mhm.
were terrible grandchildren." So maybe it'll work out in a way that we just hadn't thought. So who owns what? We get possessive of what we believe is ours, whether or not it really is. Yep. Okay, and Tiffany is sharing in the chat room. "I think it's hard as a child to see your parent get hurt by her siblings. My mom had to deal with this with her brothers, and they always being tag teamed against my mom. The family dynamics are just, it's like swimming through mud that turns into concrete. It's just so difficult to see your way through. It's hard to know how to manage, especially when you feel like, well, this is family. Why are we almost like enemies? Why aren't we working together?" And then I also think when it's a step situation like this situation, you just don't know what those dynamics were. For
Mm.
instance, you don't know what the stepfather's children felt about his marriage. So for the her mom and her, they thought this was great, but you never know what his children thought of it. And so they might already bring into this situation the past. "We were always upset that dad married her. We just never felt like it was a good match for him. She's a gold digger. Look at what, we thought she was a gold digger. Here she is, a gold digger." You just don't know. You just don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of unknowns.
There is a lot of unknowns. We are complicated people as human beings. Okay, I think we're going to close. Last thoughts from those who are joining us live. If you'd like to share last thoughts in the chat room, that would be great. Jennifer, what last thoughts are you thinking?
Um, I think, I'll just reiterate again, like anytime you can make your wishes known to people in advance and they change, and as they change, update them because otherwise you're being held at your word, from a time that maybe things have changed. So,
And what's interesting is both these questions really were around wishes.
yeah.
And I think it's important for us to be very clear around wishes of who we want to visit us at the end.
Hmm.
And that way we know to make those visits
Yeah, we
possible.
don't get to do this again. So, there's no do-overs.
That is exactly it. Thank you for getting us right down to the bottom line. This is our one chance to get it
Mhm.
right. And we can do that. We can do it knowing that it's around support and comfort. This is a just heartbreaking situation. What can I do so we all feel supported and comforted? And the stepdaughter can think about that too, in terms of the compassionate responses that she creates so that she has defaults for her responses so she can keep moving through her day. Okay. Thanks everybody who's joined us live. We so appreciate the opportunity to connect with you, and we so appreciate your insights too. It's always helpful to have others add into the conversation. Jennifer, thanks so much for joining me today. For those who are interested in your caregiving coaching, tell us how they can reach you.
Yes, the easiest way is just my website, which is just my name, jenniferrichey.com, and we can put that in the show notes.
Yes, absolutely. And we have a community called caringourway.com. Please join us. We have lots going on, lots of events and workshops and additional support for you. We know that programs and services that help you and your caree are going to be cut, which means that they might disappear. This is uncertain times. We are here to support you with additional chat hours. We're also doing Zoom meetings. It's our goal to provide support for you and to share some suggestions and ideas about what you can do when a program or service disappears. It's awful when this happens. It's even worse when you're alone with trying to figure out what to do. So join us because we want to be here to support you as we all try to figure this out. Okay, thanks everyone.
Thanks, Denise.
Bye-bye.